In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the blower motor switch on this Ford Ranger. Let's get started. To begin, we have to remove the radio bezel here, and all you need to do that is to just pull out on it. Don't go out too far. Depending on whether you have an aftermarket head unit or the original one, you may or may not have to remove that with it. In our case, because it's an aftermarket one and it has these tabs on the side, it'll come out with it. But usually in that case, the wiring should be long enough to reach. Also, these vents in this case are broken. They're supposed to stay clipped in to the trim panel, but because they're broken, I'm just going to set them aside. Over here, if you just pull straight out on this top connector, that's for your 12-volt outlet. And then if your truck has fog lights, you want to unplug the fog light switch as well. Now, you don't have to completely remove this panel at this point. You could set it to the side. Also unplug your antenna, any other wiring that might be in your way. And what I'm going to do is just set this panel to the side, leave everything else connected. That way I don't disturb any more wiring than I have to. I'm going to set these out of the way because now we can clearly access the 4 screws that hold this entire control panel for the HVAC. So get a 7mm socket and let's remove all 4. As you can see, this wants to come out now. So remove it. Don't go too far because there are wires attached to it, as well as the vacuum controls on the backside here. This is the switch we're after, so we're not going to disturb any of this. We're just going to unplug the blower motor switch. Once you have this out, if you flip it over, it's somewhat difficult to do because the wires and the vacuum hoses are limiting, but on the underside of the switch, you have this clip that if you pry out with a pocket screwdriver, you should be able to pull the electrical connector away. There we go. Unplug that. It's getting hung up on something else, so I'm just going to stick the screwdriver in here and pry it out. There we go. Set that aside. And now you have to pull the knob off. So just pull straight out on it. And this will expose the front of it because this shaft right here has to actually slide through. And then all you have to do is pry on this tab right here. You want to pry up. Oh, there we go. That just unhooked. And then there are 2 more like this on the bottom. So flip that over. 1 on each corner this time. Well, I guess you have to pry in. And there you go. There's your switch. There's the new one. Let's replace it. Obviously, it only fits in one direction, but make sure you aim the right way. Otherwise, it's not going to line up. Once it does line up, snap it into place. Reconnect the electrical connector. Reinstall the knob. Make sure it functions as it should, which it does. At this point, you could test it out if you want to. Now let's put this assembly back. Make sure everything is still connected on the back side of it. Line up the bolt holes. Doesn't have to be very tight. These are very small screws and you don't want to break anything. All right, that's secured. Let's bring up the head unit with the trim panel all up at the same time. Reconnect anything you disconnected. For me, it was the antenna and then the fog light switch, as well as the 12-volt outlet. The vents, like I said, should have stayed with the trim panel. They didn't for me, so I'm going to try to reattach them, at least partially. And then slide all of this back in, just like that. Make sure it lines up. If it doesn't go, make sure you're not pinching any wires. So remove it, resituate everything, try again. Press it in, it should clip on. Make sure your vents are lined up. They are. Everything else is good. Head unit is secured. And there you have it.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.